beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
Hello and welcome to A Beautiful Legacy. I'm your host, Tiago Pinto. Alongside our monthly themes, I occasionally introduce a brand special, an episode that steps back from individuals to examine how a single brand shaped everyday life through design, communication, and cultural positioning. This episode is about a company that manufactures one of the most technical and overlooked components of a car. A company whose product is black, circular, and rarely admired. And yet, over the course of the 20th century, that company became a cultural institution. This is the story of how Pirelli turned friction into culture. That said, let's roll along for the next 10 minutes. Long before the calendar, long before global campaigns, and long before Formula One, Pirelli was already participating in the visual culture of modern Europe. The now iconic elongated P logo was introduced in 1908 by Pirelli's internal design office. Its stretched horizontal stroke was not decorative. It suggested extension, elasticity, and tension. Visual metaphors perfectly aligned with the physics of rubber under stress. This was decades before corporate identity systems became formalized. The mark did not merely label products, it embodied material behavior, but the logo was only the beginning. In the early 20th century, Pirelli began commissioning some of the most important poster artists of the time, not as illustrators for hire, but as creative authors. Marcello Dudovich brought theatrical dynamism and refined composition into Pirelli's campaigns, aligning the brand with the golden age of Italian poster design. Leonetto Cappiello, often considered the father of modern advertising posters, introduced simplified silhouettes and dramatic contrast. His work rejected clutter and embraced immediate visual impact, an approach perfectly suited to products associated with speed. Later, Fortunato Depero, a central figure of the futurist movement, injected mechanical rhythm and geometric force into Pirelli's visual language. Futurism celebrated velocity, industry, and the aesthetics of progress, precisely the cultural atmosphere tires belong to. Pirelli did not merely advertise within modernism, it positioned itself inside it. Its posters were not technical explanations of rubber compounds. They were expressions of movement, velocity, and industrial optimism. Before it became glamorous, Pirelli became visually literate. That literacy would define everything that followed. By the time Pirelli launched the Pirelli Calendar in 1964, the brand had already developed decades of cultural credibility. The calendar was not distributed commercially. It was invitation only. It was not conventional advertising. It was a cultural object. Over the decades, Pirelli commissioned some of the most influential photographers of the modern era. Richard Avedon, Annie Leibovitz, Peter Lindbergh, Mario Testino, and of course, Helmut Newton. These were not commercial image makers hired to display tires. They were authors, invited to interpret beauty, power, fashion, and cultural mood. The tyre was absent, the brand was fully present. Pirelli understood something rare for an industrial company. Cultural authority can outlast product messaging. The calendar did not sell tires directly. It positioned Pirelli within the worlds of art, fashion, and photography. The product remained on the road. The brand entered the cultural conversation.
Beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
While the calendar built prestige, Pirelli's advertising maintained discipline. One of the most memorable campaigns was created by Young and Rubicam. The image was truly iconic. Footballer phenomenon Ronaldo, then a player for Inter Milan, striking a pose as the famous Corcovado, something that resembled the way he celebrated when he scored a goal. The line read, "Power is nothing without control." That phrase distilled the engineering truth of tires: grip, contact, responsibility, into philosophy. It did not exaggerate. It did not rely on noise. It translated performance into ethics. Few industrial slogans have achieved that level of permanence.
Beauty. Beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
Pirelli's relationship with motorsport is structural. As a tire supplier in rally, endurance racing, and Formula One, Pirelli operates at the limit of grip, hit, and degradation. Tires determine strategy. They dictate pace. They influence risk. In modern Formula One, tire performance is not background engineering. It is narrative tension. Unlike brands that borrow racing glamour superficially, Pirelli's engineering is visible in the drama of the sport. Its cultural authority rests on mechanical reality.
Beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
Across more than a century, a pattern emerges. Pirelli commissions serious designers. It collaborates with serious photographers. It invests in disciplined graphic identity. This is not opportunistic sponsorship. It is posture. Pirelli chose to behave like a patron, not a promoter. The tire remained technical. The brand became sophisticated. That separation is rare, and it is deliberate. The world we inherited from Pirelli is one where the most industrial components of modern life can carry cultural meaning. Tires remain invisible to most drivers. Yet Pirelli transformed that invisibility into narrative. Today, when industrial brands commission artists, when engineering companies cultivate cultural capital, when manufacturers understand the long-term value of design literacy, they are following a model Pirelli explored early. Pirelli proved that patronage is not indulgence, it is positioning. It showed that the object touching the road can also touch culture. Pirelli never stopped manufacturing tires. It never abandoned compound formulas, thread patterns, or structural testing. But it understood that a brand can operate in more than one dimension. One dimension grips the asphalt, the other grips imagination. By commissioning artists, designers, photographers, and agencies with cultural weight, Pirelli expanded what an industrial manufacturer could be. Pirelli did not market rubber, it curated culture around it. And that, truly, is a beautiful legacy.
Beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were.
You've been listening to A Beautiful Legacy. In these brand specials, we look beyond individuals to understand how brands shape everyday life through accumulated creative decisions. From infrastructure to culture, movement is not only engineered, it is narrated. Join me in the next episode as we continue exploring the legacies that quietly shape the world we move through. Until then, keep noticing the beauty people leave behind.
Beautiful legacy. Every line, every curve leaves a trace of who we were. In the shape of a chair, in the light on a wall, someone's dream still stands tall. But